Hi, so friends, you can style this reversible jacket in 5 different ways. But before we get into the tutorial, please hit that subscribe button if you're yet to subscribe to the channel. Turn on your post notification so that anytime I post the video, you'll be notified. And to my returning subscriber, thank you for your love and support. I am going to be using the same African print but different color for this tutorial. So this is my shoulder line, my bust point, my underbust, waistline, hip line. And here I'm going to be marking 3 inches from my hip line all the way down to up to the shoulder line. And this is going to serve as our jacket lapel. So this is the front piece I am trying to draft. On the shoulder line, I'm going to be marking 2.75 inches for the wideness. Then for the depth, I'm using 3 inches. Note that my measurement, I'm starting after the 3 inches line we mark for the lapel. Then on the shoulder line, I'll be dividing my shoulder measurement by 2 and I'll add ½ inch allowance to that and mark on the shoulder line. I'll come down by 1 inch. I'm going to just slant this and I'll divide my armhole measurement by 2 and I'm going to be marking it here. So this is going to be my chest line. Then I'll go ahead and connect this shoulder slope to meeting the chest line like so. So on my chest line, I'll divide my bust measurement by 4 and I'll mark it here. I've said all my vertical measurement I'm going to be marking it after the 3 inches. So I divide this armhole here into 2, coming by ½ inch, and I'm going to curve my armhole. So this is the front piece we are cutting. On the bust point, I'll divide that measurement by 2 and add ½ inch allowance to that. I'll just take that measurement and mark it all the way down to the length, the hip line, I mean. So I'll draw that to meet the hip line. So that measurement is nipple to nipple measurement, in case you don't know. Under the bust here, I'm just going to mark ½ inch on both sides. Then I'll connect that to meeting the waistline. But from the under bust, I'll just connect it to meet the bust point. Then I'll draw it down to meet the waistline. Please, this ½ inch is just okay. You don't want to do too much here because some people can even make this without that. But I choose to give me proper fitting. So don't do too much. Don't just ½ inches. ½ inches is just okay for this. You just want it to be fitted a bit. Okay. Then I just slant this to meet the hip line. Please do not remove, just ½ inch, ½ inch is just okay. Then I'll draw that measurement to my armhole that we divided by 2, that point there. Then I'm going to be coming off from my bust point 1 inch. Then here ½ inch, ½ inch. I will connect that to meeting the 1 inch. So for this jacket, you can actually cut shoulder darts for it. You can cut a princess dart as I am cutting, or you just have that normal dart to it. Any dart is fine, but I choose princess dart to the jacket. And I put that for proper fitting. So I'll measure here. That's 1 inch, and I'll just replace it here, and I'll add allowance for sewing. On my waistline, I'll divide my waist measurements by 4, replace my dart measurements here, and the sewing allowance. On the hip line, I'll divide the hip measurements by 4, add my sewing allowance to it. Then I'll go ahead and connect this. At this point, you are just wondering why the jacket length is on the hip line. Don't worry, I'm going to extend it and I'll show you how to extend it to the length, the proper length. So here I'll measure here and extend it this way. If not, by the time you're sewing your darts, you might have issues with it because it won't fit properly. So you need to extend this for your princess darts. Moving to the lapel, I'm just going to be connecting the line from my waistline to meet the shoulder line. And I'll go ahead and extend this line on my neckline like so. Extend it here. I'll mark 2 inches here. Then I'll connect that to meet my waistline. So at this point, you can either just slant this from your neckline to your waistline like so. You can slant it like that. But mine, I want a curve, so that's why I'm using a curve ruler here. I just want that curve to meet my waistline. I'll go ahead and add sewing allowance here. 1/4 inch is fine. And I'm going to go ahead and add 1/2 inch on my shoulder line for the shoulder joining. So I'm going to add 1/2 inch like this. Then I'll connect this. I'll go ahead and cut it out. Please, at this point, if you have not liked the video, please like the video and also subscribe to the channel. So my fabric is on fold and I placed the pattern on it, and I am marking the full length of my jacket. So I'm going to add 1/2 inch allowance down there because I already added allowance to the shoulder line. So here I'm just going to extend this hip measurement all the way down to the length of the jacket. I'm going to connect this to meet the length of the jacket. So this next thing here, you can totally skip this. It was not really necessary, but I added it to mine. So from these 3 inches for the lapel, I mark 1 inch in like this. So I want to be connecting that to my waistline. So I'm going to slant it in like so. So from my waistline, I'll just slant it to meet the 1 inch I just marked. So you can totally skip this part. So when I was done, I went ahead and added 1/2 inch that way, all the way up to the neckline. Today's special hug is for Chundi Boson, watching us from Jos, Nigeria. I'm glad you enjoyed the tutorial. Please let me know where you're watching me from so I can give you my special hug in my next video. After that, I'll go ahead and cut this out. So I'll be cutting 4 pieces for the front. So 2 pieces is going to be on the green print, and while the other 2 is going to be on the white print. So I'm just cutting exactly like so. And you can see here, this is white print here and the green print. This is my back pattern. I drafted out my shoulder line, my waistline, and my hip line. And I'm marking 1 inch like this. Even if there is no zip, I like to have that joining at my back because it will give you a proper fitting. So go ahead and add this for the joining of your back. So I'll go ahead and mark 2.75, that is 2 3/4 for the wideness of the neck. Then the depth, I'm using 1 inch. Note that my measurement, I start after the 1 inch. On the shoulder line, I'm going to be dividing my shoulder measurement by 2 and I'll add 1/2 inch allowance to it. I'll come down by 1 inch and I'll connect this slope like this. I'll go ahead and divide the armhole area by 2 and I'm going to be marking it here. This is going to serve as my chest line. After that, I'll go ahead and connect this shoulder slope to meet the chest line. I'll divide my bust measurements by 4 and I'm going to be marking it here. Then on the armhole, I'm going to be dividing this part by 2 and I'm going to be marking it here. Please do not come in by 1/2 inch. This was a mistake. Later I noticed and I canceled the line. Because this is for our back piece, you do not need to come in by 1/2 inch. This is for the front piece. So I made a mistake here. You'll see later I'll cancel that drawing. On my chest line, I divided my dart measurement by 2 and added 1/2 inch allowance to it. So I'm going to be drawing it to meet my hip line. So I'll draw it all the way to the hip line. And I'm going to connect the dart. I've told you earlier you can add any dart to your jacket. I'm just using a princess dart. You can use any other dart. So at this point, I noticed that I made a mistake, and that's why I canceled this line. So I went ahead to just curve this properly. Then I cancel this other one. Please take note. I'll go ahead and just connect the dart line to meeting the armhole, like so. On my waistline, I'll divide my waist measurement by 4 and I'll mark, add 1 inch for that allowance, then I'll add extra for the sewing allowance. I'll divide my hip measurement by 4 and I'll mark on my hip line and add sewing allowance for that. Here I'm adding sewing allowance. After this, I'll go ahead and just connect this together. After doing this, on the waistline here, I'm going to be coming in by 1/2 inch. This is important so that the back of the jacket will give you a proper fitting. I'm coming in by 1/2 inch. So I'll just connect that from the waistline, slant it down to the hip line. Then I'll slant this up to the chest line. I'll go ahead and mark 1 inch there again, like so, for the back joining. Then I'll connect the lines. I hope you understand. If you have any question, please leave it in the comment section and I'm going to answer your question. After doing this, I added allowance for the shoulder and the neck area and I went ahead and cut this out. I place it on the fabric. This fabric is on fold and I'll just be extending this 1 inch down, this joining down to meeting the length of the jacket. Then I'll extend this hip line all the way down to meet the length of the jacket. Then I cut this out. I'm going to also cut it on the white print. I went ahead and added gum esteem to the lapel side of this our jacket. I did the same thing for the white print too. So I'll go ahead and hold the darts of this jacket. I'll do the same thing for the white side. So how to hold the darts? You're going to fold this like this, then turn this piece down like this, upside down like this. Then I'm going to sew this, and you just have to be patient and careful, adjust it like this. After sewing this, you have to iron it very well. Open it up and iron the joining, and it will be very flat and neat. After doing this, this is the back piece. I'll go ahead and join the back with the 1 inch we kept, the same shape we did. I'll go ahead and sew that both for this green print and the white print. So everything you do for the green print, you're going to do for the white print. I'll go ahead and place the front side, meeting front side, like the front and the back, and I'm going to hold the shoulder line, and I'm going to shape this to fit my body size. So this, after doing this, I'm going to open it up and bring the white print like this, and I'll place it here on the neck area, and I'll sew this neck area. I'll sew down here, and I'm going to sew this front piece, this lapel side, like so. You need to be very careful with the measurements. You need to be very sure of the measurement, because once you're done, it's going to be very hard for you to adjust. So you need to be sure of your measurement. I went ahead and notched all that all around, and I'm going to pull it from this arm area. You can see it's open, so that is where I'm going to remove this, the right side from, like so. Once I am done, I'll go ahead, push all this corner out. That's why it's important you notch every corner. So push this out, and I'm going to iron this very well. After doing this, I'm going to fold it like this, And any trimming for the armhole, I'll just go ahead and trim the armhole area in case you need any trimming. This is the sleeve. I cut 2 pieces from the white print and 2 for the from the green print. So I'm going to open this up like this and place the right side of this front print on the right side of the green print and sew down here by half an inch. After sewing that, I'll open it up like this and open this joining here and make it flat. Then my round arm area, I'm going to measure it here. Then I'm going to sew this armhole area like so. You can see the way I just finished sewing. Then I'll cut out any excesses because you don't need too much excess fabric on this. After doing this, I'll just pull this like so. So you iron this very well. Please iron while sewing, okay? This is what you're going to get. I'll bring the armhole of the jacket and I'm going to be placing this green side, this joining here. The joining of the side joining of the jacket, you can see this side joining. I'll bring out just the green piece, that's the green part, and I'll sew it to the green part of the sleeve. So you can see the joining of the sleeve and joining of the jacket, the side joining, and I'll sew that green part. And if you finish sewing the green part, this is what you're going to get. After that, this white part will be like this. So I'm also going to adjust this white part. The joining side, the side joining of this jacket and the side joining of the sleeve, I'm going to make the right side facing right side. So you can see the right side here facing the right side. I'll flip it like this and pin it like so. Then I'll go ahead and sew this part till I can't sew anymore. You will not sew the entire thing because you'll not be able to sew everything. So I'm going to sew it till it's going to be difficult for me to continue sewing. So this is a small piece here that will remain after I'm done sewing it like so. I'll use my thread and needle and give a very neat tagging to this. Very neat one. So that small space there, I'm going to tag it with my thread and needle in a way that you won't see the thread and needle. I hope we know how to do our needlework. So this is how I'm going to seal this up. So with this jacket like this, there is no wrong side to it. So you can wear the green side or you can wear the white side as shown in the video. So guys, if you have enjoyed the video, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, share this video, turn on your post notification for more content like this. Thank you so much.